I am late on rent for my space that I use in Olivia Chow's bicycle basket. She runs a tight ship. It's gray out. I think I got a letter from my Nana because the Canucks are out and we were talking about that, so I thought I would read it. It says, "When I bust my gat, motherfuckers take dirt naps." That is not from Nana. But I want to thank you for listening, and it's going to be a great episode. This is Your Worst Song, and I am trapped in a painting. For sure. Look at you with all professional with the setup behind you. Are you in your practice room or something?
Yeah, man, I'm just in the gear room
Oh,
here.
wow. Okay. See,
And
this is worth making it a visual podcast at this point. You got the whole setup. That's
oh,
cool.
jeez, yeah, I don't know about that. It's kind of a mess right now because I've just been playing some shows, so you know how.
Yes.
Uh,
Is it actually like your space that you rent monthly or something, or what's the deal?
no, it's just at my parents' house here.
Oh,
I'm
wow, cool.
a lucky guy, so
Yeah. And
uh,
it's generally Toronto based, or are you outside of the city right now?
yeah, I'm in the West End
Okay.
near like Jane and Bloor, sort of Bloor West Village.
Okay, very nice. Have you always lived in Toronto then, or what's the deal?
Yeah, I grew up in the West End here and lived here my whole life.
Wow, that's wild. Okay, so I don't know if I've ever had a city kid at the mercy of my questions. Do you think there's anything to raising a kid in the city, like in terms of actually, I assume, just based on stereotypes that I've heard, you probably took like the subway earlier than the rest of suburban kids, for example, or were
Mm.
given a little more freedom walking around or whatever. Do you have any, I'm not basically asking you if you have any horrifying memories from having too much freedom early. I'm sort of looking for the opposite. Any interesting memories, growing up
Yeah,
in the
I
city?
definitely remember taking the subway on field trips down to the Rom
Right.
and stuff, like,
Yeah.
and as a kid you like never really knew where you were going because I feel like the subway sort of at that point was always just like a
It's
portal.
like the universe. You have no idea of the size or the spectrum or how it's moving throughout the city, right? It's just like magical, like you said. It's like a portal.
Exactly, yeah. So I remember like being a kid going on field trips, being like, I don't know where I am or how I got here, but pretty crazy that trip. And but then also like I went to high school at Rosedale High School of the Arts.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm in the West End, but that's sort of like just in the East End, just like right
Sort of
before.
like northeast, right? A little bit.
Yeah, it's like just on Bloor Street, right before Danforth basically becomes Danforth, like at
Yeah.
the big bridge there. So I would have to take the subway every day
That
across
is
the city.
wild.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're one of the I feel like I hear or read online or whatever so much about like, oh, this city's changed, man. And then the person saying it is like, well, you live in Vaughn. You're not what are you talking about? You didn't spend
Um,
enough time to fully grasp if there's been a huge change or not. But I feel like you can actually state, I'm not saying even for better or worse. I'm just stating you are a witness to probably a lot of change that's happened in
yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the city's changing every day, and
Yeah.
I think mostly for the better, hopefully.
Yeah.
And, like seeing a lot of new bike lanes. And I think the subway is getting better. Finally, there's some Wi Fi in there, which is
Yep, that's
good.
true.
Uh,
That's a huge bump up.
yeah,
Even
definitely.
just for like safety or whatever, even just for that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get into music then. If you were born and lived in the city, for all this time, does that mean that you also started going to the classic venues we would think of fairly early or often? Like, or when was your first show? When was your first show live with whatever iteration of a band you had?
Hmm. Well, like the first shows and stuff I went to, definitely I remember being like a kid and going to see like a friend's band at the Elma Combo and stuff when I was probably like
Wow.
maybe like 11 or 12.
Does that mean the friend was also 11 or 12 and just like fucking crushing it?
Yeah, basically.
What?
Well, no, but they were like they were a couple years older, but the friend was actually, the funny thing is the friend I'm referring to is actually like Emmett from Goodbye Honolulu and Max Bornstein when they were kids. Like my parents sort of were friends with them, like mutual friends.
Okay.
So they had a band, and you know, I also started playing music really young too. So I feel like that was definitely a thing in my life, is just like, because I've started my first band when I was like 9, and we didn't start playing venues really until, you know, we were like what?
Allowed.
Like 12?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Slightly more allowed. What do you write about at 9? What do you write about at 9?
Dude, yeah, we were little songwriters. I don't know. It's like those things. You gotta definitely use your imagination, I think.
No, this is amazing. I'm asking it with positive curiosity.
Yeah.
Like, is it sort of, what is the angst a 9-year-old is going? Take me back to that.
I feel like, you know, common themes still, love and life.
Okay.
And,
mom doesn't understand, perhaps?
Yeah, mom doesn't understand me, but it was funny. This like, so my first band called The Hunch, which I started.
Oh, that's a good band name.
Thanks.
Yeah, good one.
Which I started with Reed Miller, who is in BBQ Pope now with me.
Cool,
and,
yes. I was going to say BBQ Pope, so thank you very much for not letting me fall into that trap.
No
barbecue. Okay.
You know, we started that band when we were like kids, right? Like grade 4, and we never really wanted to do covers though. That was the thing. We always wanted to write our own music. And
good. That's a good instinct when you're young, especially. You have to like develop those own things. Develop your own craft, sort of.
Totally. It was just something that I never wanted to do. Like, we never really felt like it was worth doing, you know, because we were just having so much fun writing our own music.
Yep.
I think, yeah, like some of the first songs, they were just like definitely, you know, silly little like love songs and stuff.
It's fantastic.
One of the big songs that we wrote was called Halfway to Silence, that my mom still references all the time. She's always like, play Halfway to Silence. And it was sort of this like 5-minute long power ballad.
Hell yeah.
Just ripping off, what's it called? The like Hey Jude kind of thing.
Oh, so there's a long sort of ending refrain that's consistently going.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know. We just, we always wanted to write our own stuff. And I mean, it's been years now. I don't even know. Like,
no, it's all right. It's all right.
It's like a distant memory, but
that's cool that you did it at all. Well, speaking of gigs, I usually like to, maybe we should start with maybe even more basic information. So how many bands are you active in right now? One?
I'm currently,
because you're working on your stuff plus BBQ Pope. Is that correct?
Yeah, really only one band now. I've been playing with a bunch of different projects, but currently BBQ Pope is my main active band.
Okay.
And then you're right, I am doing some solo stuff as well, but that's sort of
did I out a secret? I can cut this.
No.
Okay.
Not. It's not quite a secret, but
I'm here for the scoops, bro. That's I'm here for the gotcha journalism.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's coming though. It's coming, and I'm super excited about it. It's cool, sort of like electronic-y alt rock project.
Okay, which I would say is a flavor maybe that is not, I wouldn't associate with BBQ Pope. It's cool that you're doing something different.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different. You know, BBQ Pope is more raw, just like garage rock kind of stuff.
Exactly.
This is sort of like me trying to just like be more of a producer, I think. You know, like take the time with everything. And it's also just like a solo project, really. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
What's
doing what I can.
what's that like? Going from presumably writing it's three people in BBQ Pope, right?
Yeah.
So writing however you write, it's got to be different with two other people than with yourself. So what's that change been like?
It's actually been really interesting. Barbecue Pope, as I don't know if you know, but like we took a pretty long hiatus over the pandemic,
Yeah,
and that was sort of like at a time when obviously all
everything took a break.
yeah, everything took a
Yeah,
break, right?
yeah.
But I was also focused on my other band, X band, Fadeaways at that time,
Hmm.
and so yeah, barbecue was like on the back burner. But with Fadeaways, there was four songwriters, so we all wrote
Sure.
songs and brought them to the band, and then
Oh
after,
wow, I feel like that's sorry to cut you off. I feel like that's very unique. That
yeah, yeah,
that many
definitely.
songwriters and you made room for each other,
Mhm.
That's rare.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like, I mean, we were huge fans of like Sloan and that kind of stuff, like the Beatles, of
Yeah.
course. Like, having this sort of dynamic range of songs to bring to the band and also work on collectively.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, it was more like for individual songwriters bringing music in, whereas with Barbecue Pope, what we've sort
Hmm.
of really like rekindled is just like the group songwriting aspect.
I feel like you can feel that when you listen to the music. It's everything is so locked in, or sort of there's a groove to a lot of it, even though I wouldn't describe it as groovy music necessarily.
Mhm.
I'm also not 85. But I feel like there's sort of yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just an energy or the way that I'm sure you could quantify it if I went into your songs and just saw
Mhm.
the riffs following each other on bass and guitar. But yeah, it just seems like there's a sense that you are playing together, but it's not jammy. Like it's not like a jam band.
No, I think honestly, like you're pretty spot on with like the grooviness aspect of it. Like we've, especially with the new stuff, because we're actually writing a new album and
Hmm.
we're going to be recording that this year, which is fun.
Hell yeah,
But
that's cool.
yeah, sort of like after the hiatus and after Fadeaways, fell apart a bit.
Yep, yep.
Um, Barbecue Pope like rekindled itself, and we were like, well, we need to write new music. So,
When was the last Barbecue Pope release? Like,
so,
or full release, I'll say, not single.
so technically, we put out our last EP in 2020, I think, but it was only on Bandcamp, and so much other shit was going down
Of
that it
course. Yeah, yeah,
totally
yeah.
flopped. Totally flopped at that time, and
I should have
so
a flop noise going forward if somebody
yeah.
ever says that. Yeah, exactly. If anybody out there plays tuba, get in touch. Uh,
So we decided after we got back together, and we are like, well, let's do the band again, and we decided to re-release that EP in 2023, which
to a
was,
lot more attention.
yeah, definitely
Yeah.
to better attention and
To any attention, it
to
sounds
any
like.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely a smart move to re-release it and put that out there. So I guess you could say our last release was sort of like 2023, but we
Hmm.
had actually recorded that last EP in 2019 and then initially put it out in 2020. So really, we haven't released anything new or recorded new music for about 4 years now.
So does that mean that the music that you're working on now and will release, are those also older songs you've revived in some way, or are they all newer songs you've written sort of since the release? And let's say it's since 2020.
So yeah, they're actually all new songs.
Okay. How
We
new are we talking?
we're talking like 4 months ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, yeah. We're talking December. We're
Yeah.
talking January. Okay, cool.
So it's cool. Like we basically decided, let's do a 9-song album. Let's write all new songs. And I mean, we did have a couple songs, to be honest. Yeah, we do have a couple songs that are a few years older than like probably like 2020, 2020.
Everybody does that. And also they change. I'm sure
Totally.
that you wouldn't approach them the same way that you would have if you put them out in 2019 or 2020, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple ones like that, but for the most part, I'd say like 80% of the album is all brand new songs.
That's very
And
exciting.
they definitely have their own sound. It's sort of like a new, more like, not like new wavy, but like a bit more indie,
Cool.
more groovy for sure. I think people who know us as like
Garage rock for
like
sure.
garage rock, garage
Yeah.
pop stuff, like they'll be surprised.
Oh,
But
that's exciting.
at the same time, we're like incorporating elements of some hardcore stuff and also post-hardcore, new wave,
Wow.
and really leaning into like the psyche kind of groovy stuff too, which is
So
cool.
can I tease out of you even like a ballpark 5-month range of when it might come out? Whatever this 9-song
Yeah, so
collection
we're
is?
looking at we're hoping probably next spring, to be honest.
Cool,
To
cool,
release
cool.
songs like in the winter or something, but
Right, as a lead up and then the full thing in. Okay, gotcha.
yeah. But we're gonna be doing we're currently touring, and then in July we're gonna be recording with our friend Dylan Franklin.
Cool. Where are
Yeah.
you? Where's the last place that you were on tour? You said you're currently touring.
We just played in St. Catharines last night at the Warehouse, which was really cool.
I have not been to St. Catharines, but I've heard of St. Catharines.
Yeah.
I've heard of the
Definitely
Warehouse.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good. Yeah. It was really fun, For a Thursday night, it was a good turnout, and it was our first time playing St. Catharines as well, so
Wow.
pleasantly surprised.
Was it your first time visiting as well, or just first time playing? You had been there before.
I've never really spent any time there.
It's like driving through or past, sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotcha. Cool. Well, you said you're in the middle of tour, so that means more stuff is coming up. Do you have any cities that you're excited for?
Yeah, we're playing in
Favorites.
Yeah. We're playing Sarnia on Saturday, which I'm actually really excited for. We're playing at a venue called Mod's Variety, which I've heard a lot about. Everyone seems to rave about it, which is cool.
Could you, because I haven't heard about it, could you relate it maybe just based on reputation to somewhere out in Toronto? Is it is it like a Garrison vibe, or is it totally like a Dakota Tavern vibe? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to say it's almost like, oh man, almost like if Bar Orwell, which I know is going through some troubles right now, but
yeah,
if Bar Orwell had some booths and also some more food kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's I think it's a smaller place, sort of long, skinny bar with a stage at the front, but I know they do really good flatbread pizzas, so stoked for that. Right. Yeah.
That's always a good sign. There's a place, or I assume you played Jimmy Jazz in Guelph at some point?
Actually, no, I've never played Jimmy Jazz. So.
Well, they do pizza there in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow, that's funny. Okay. Well, good to know. Sarnia, that's cool. I haven't actually been to Sarnia. That's a ways out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But are you getting there?
Booked, so.
You got a what?
A hotel booked. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Sleep well, hopefully.
Nice. And what's the transit system? Have you guys got a band van or something?
We just have my car, which is Volvo station wagon.
Nice. I'm gonna pretend I know what that is. Yeah. Hey, actually, I know what a station wagon is. Don't sell yourself short, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I should probably begin with a little bit of structure. What was your worst gig that you can remember? You don't need to say the name of the place or anything like that, but experience-wise.
I think two things come to mind.
Fantastic.
The first one is this is probably just the story of my most embarrassing show ever. And
okay,
this would have been
this will be the clip.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Grade 6. We this was with the Hunch. We were playing at a school assembly, and we'd played the morning assembly to all the grade 2, 3, 4s and stuff.
Whoa.
In the afternoon, we played the afternoon assembly to all the grades 6, 7, and 8s. And so the one in the morning went totally fine.
How old were you at the time?
I would have been, I think, maybe 12. I'm not sure. Like,
Okay, so
what
you
grade
were
are you in? Grade 6? Like,
yeah,
like
10
what
or
age?
11 maybe. So you were
Yeah.
you the point is you were not of the oldest. You were a little
No.
young. Okay, wow, yeah. So
Yeah, and
uh,
we were playing to some older kids,
yes,
but
exactly.
so we played, I think, like 3 songs, and on our last song, we were going into the final chorus. Everyone's just, all these kids are just watching us. There's probably like 350 kids or something, and it's our whole school. We're like, all right, like, it's
Wow.
pretty crazy. We're going into the last chorus of the final song, and all of a sudden, I step on my guitar cord, which I did not have wrapped around
Oof.
my
Oof.
guitar strap,
Yeah.
and it yanked it out. So all of a sudden, I'm cut out. There's
Oh
nothing
my
left.
God.
And I was playing Epiphone Les Paul at that time, which was way too big for me and way too heavy. And if you know what the Les Pauls are like, you know that they
Yeah.
have the input on the bottom of the guitar, so it's
Right.
like kind of awkward. It's a little bit of a trick to get it in if you're
Yeah,
not like,
yeah.
if you can't actively see it. So I knelt down and I grabbed my cord and I was like trying to put it in the jack and struggled with it, struggled with it for what felt like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but it's probably only 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
Um, and finally I get the cord back in and I hit one chord, like I hit one note on the guitar, and all of a sudden my guitar strap falls off. And then this is like, we're in the final chorus, like last couple of hits, my guitar
uh,
fell off. It was just total disaster. And all I could do was just stand there and hold my guitar up. And I was like, all right,
oh, that's amazing. Come on.
yeah,
At least that is far, you handle it far better than I think a lot of other kids would. Just
yeah,
owning it and holding your guitar up. I mean, you must have got applause, right?
I think so. Although it was probably
You probably blacked out, sort of.
felt more like crickets or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I definitely blacked out in that moment. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But
Wow.
I
That's
feel
very
like
sweet. That's a sweet one.
that was like definitely formative memory, because I think
Oh.
once I got over that, I was ready for anything, and learned a lot. Put your guitar cord through your guitar strap.
I was gonna say, do you think, because presumably you have to do that now every time you gig and put on your guitar, do you have just this little flash of that memory every time you do it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's probably happened other times too, but I think after that, I was just like adamant. I'm always like, you got to wrap it around so that never happens again.
For sure. No,
Uh,
this is good. I should start doing that. I don't do that, and it's almost slipped off in
yeah.
rehearsal a bunch of times. But yeah, yeah. Wow.
So yeah, there's that story.
Yeah, you said
Um,
you had two.
yeah,
Curious.
the other one was definitely a couple years later. So this was like the first BBQ Pope tour when we were in about grade 12, and
Okay.
I would have been like
Wiser.
17, 18. Yeah, a
Yeah.
little wiser. I don't know how much wiser, but we ended up playing in Hamilton, and this is actually, like, yeah, kind of like a crazy story, but we were booked to play at this venue in Hamilton called the Doors Pub, which some people might know.
Mhm.
And as we're driving into Hamilton, we get a message from the promoter saying, "Hey, the show is canceled tonight because some crackheads who just moved in upstairs came down and started a fight with the metal band that was playing last night, and somebody
Whoa.
got stabbed."
Whoa.
So it's currently an active crime scene, and you have to cancel the show. And we were like, what the fuck? Like, damn, okay. Thanks, Hamilton. But we were already in the city, right? We were already like on the ramp going up onto the main street.
Mhm.
And we got there pretty early in the day. And we were also with Reed Miller's dad, Jay, who was driving us at the time. So we were like, well, we don't really want to just ditch the show because we had, all the bands booked and people were supposed to come out and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
So let's see if we can find another venue, right? So we then spent the whole afternoon just going to every single place in Hamilton that we could possibly find or think of that might host a band on a whim that night.
What day of the week was it? Sorry if you already said.
Oh, I don't know, man. It was probably a Friday or a Saturday.
Okay, so basically the busiest nights.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we went around to like every single place and we were just getting rejected every place. But we eventually went to this one place called Stonewalls, which didn't have us play, but the bartender was like, well, I have a friend who's working at this other bar called the George Hamilton. And the George Hamilton is like a very central bar right on, I think, King Street, right next to like the Sheridan Hotel, downtown Hamilton. And they were like, there's a small stage there. I'll call my bartender friends, see if they will have you guys.
That's nice.
So they did that, and they were like, yeah, you guys can come. You guys can set up. If you have all your gear, then it's all yours. We were like, fuck yeah, sweet. Like, let's do it, right? So we called the other bands and told them that it was still on. And we all sort of met up in the parking lot behind the George Hamilton, excited to play. And again, we were like, 16, 17-year-olds or something. I can't believe they let us play. But
No, that's fantastic.
But in the parking lot, we met this woman who came by, and she was just like, this sort of homeless lady. She's walking by, and she's like, "Are you guys playing a show tonight?" And we were like, "Yeah, you should come out." Right? Mm-hmm. She's like, "Oh, is that the George Hamilton?" We're like, "Yeah, it's right there. Like, come on by," And we're just like kind of joking around with her, but like also, anyone coming to the show is
100%. Hey, yeah, spread it around.
We said come by, and then she sort of like walked away. We went and set all our stuff up. We started the show, and the first band playing was our friend's band called the A-Listers at that time. Cool. And as they started playing, this woman walks in the back door. So like, definitely doesn't pay cover or anything, of course, whatever. But this woman sneaks in the back door. I think she already had a beer in her hand.
Sure.
And then walks over and sees the A-Listers playing, gets right into it. She was like dancing and just having an awesome time. She loved these guys. Mm-hmm. And they were a good band too. They were this kind of like, alternative rocky, like blues, really cool, just like groovy, upbeat band. Mm-hmm. She was dancing and loving it. But as soon as they finished, she got super upset and was like, "What? Like, keep playing! Like, come on, keep playing!" And they're like, "Well, no, like, there's another band going on. Like, don't worry, there's more music." And so then BBQ Pope gets on stage, and we start playing our first song. And the song was called "Welcome to My Hell," which is like, pretty big, just like rock song, like fast, punky stuff.
Yeah.
And right away, this woman's just like, "Fuck you, get off the stage, fuck you guys." And we're like, whoa, Jesus, right? And in the A-Listers as well, like these guys were up front dancing and stuff. And I think Reed, like the bass player, he kind of just like nudged our friend Owen, who is the singer of the A-Listers, with his foot a bit, because like he was sort of just like up front, like as a joke, he kind of just like nudged him a bit.
Yeah.
But then this woman saw that as us now like attacking her new favorite band.
Oh no.
And was just like, "What the fuck? Like, fuck you guys, get off stage." And so we finished our song, or I don't even know if we finished the song, to be honest, but this woman comes over, and I had a glass of water next to me on the stage. She comes over to me, picks up my glass of water, and dumps it on my pedal board.
Like, no chance of revival. It's all water all over and through your electric pedal board.
Yeah, we were just like,
Fuck.
what the fuck? Like, whoa, whoa, what the hell? And it
Yeah.
was like a slow motion thing too. It was like I saw her coming over, and
Oh.
I'm like, oh god, like what's about to happen?
Oh my
And she just goes
God.
like this. She like dumps it on, and it's like, fuck you. And we were like, whoa, like what the hell? And I think we were just like, why did you do that? You know, like why did you do that? And then we just, we said like, get out of here,
Yeah.
And she did on her own accord. She was like, fuck you guys.
Back through the back door.
Yeah, back through the back door, exactly.
Yeah.
And we never saw her again. And luckily, my pedals actually were fine for the most part.
What?
My big muff did stop working for a while, but one of our friends lent us her sweater, which was very kind. So like we were able to kind of mop it up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was like one of those experiences where you're just like, damn, like, careful who you invite to the show sometimes.
For sure. I'm going to be honest, though, that almost serves as an advertisement for the durability of those pedals. So other than the big muff, what did you have on your board? Just for the listeners at home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to say like try this at home or anything.
No, of course not. Of course.
I think I would have had probably my tube screamer, the blues driver. Obviously there was the big muff, like a tuning pedal and maybe a delay pedal.
Gotcha.
Like a D3 or something.
So you had a bunch of classics, basically. Definitely very common across many boards.
Yeah, they're pretty hardy. They're pretty
exactly
pretty hardy pedals. So they've definitely been stomped on a lot of times. So
purposefully and accidentally, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, what about a good gig? What's the standout gig for you? With any group? BBQ Pope specifically, I guess, but or whatever. Or the Hunch.
Well, I feel like, when I was with Fadeaways, we definitely were super lucky to play some great gigs. We played a tour with the Beaches.
Wow, that's awesome.
In 2020, which was great. And got to play like Danforth Music Hall twice, actually. And
has it been cool to see them sort of blow up over the last 2 years? Yeah.
It's been really cool. They're amazing people, great musicians, and like just
looks like they put on a good show too. I haven't actually blasphemously, I haven't been able to attend a show, but I've seen online it definitely looks like they put on a real they're not just up there playing their songs, they're really doing stuff. Yeah, they're performing.
Definitely great performers. I definitely learned a lot as well from them too, with the high kicks and stuff, so that's a good move. But yeah, like I'm not sure. Other than that, like, well, I also played in Europe actually with this band called Tallies from Toronto.
Yeah, I've heard of Tallies. Cool.
Bass with them, and this was like fall 2022. Got to hop on a Europe tour with them, which was sweet, and we ended up opening for a band called Ride, which are like a very sort of well-known 90s shoegaze band,
like UK.
Yeah. UK.
Oh, that's so cool. Hell yeah. I know who you're talking about.
They're super sick. Got to meet them, and I've seen them probably like 5 times now.
Whoa.
And,
so you guys are best friends. That's huge. You guys are best friends.
Yeah. Best friends with Ryan. But I mean, like recently when they came to Toronto, got to attend the show and ended up hanging out afterwards and chatting with Mark, the lead singer.
Very cool.
Andy Bell as well, the guitar player, super nice guy. And they're all really nice guys. They're like, older now, but they're doing it, and they're doing it great, doing a really good job of it. They just put an album out as well.
Did they take a long time off?
They did. Well, they were.
That's what I thought.
They sort of disbanded for like at least 10 years, but this was also like sort of at the time, like early 2000s, where Andy Bell, the lead guitar player of Ride, ended up playing bass with Oasis. So,
well, you said Andy Bell, and I was like, I know that name, but over time you read enough English UK names, and you're like, what? These are all variations on what look like the same name. But Andy Bell, okay, wow, that's crazy. So you have also spoken to him.
Yeah.
Have you got any Gallagher trivia?
Not quite. I
No.
never really asked him about that kind of stuff.
That's wise. That's wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the guitar he was playing was the Noel Gallagher guitar that was handed down to him, which is pretty crazy.
That's wild.
I did touch it, which who knows.
Whoa, this is a family show, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to get not safe for work here.
But yeah, like we played with Tallies, we played with Ride in Dusseldorf in Germany, and that was just like super crazy experience.
Never been there or Germany in general. Was it your first time in Germany? Maybe that's a silly question.
It wasn't my first time in Germany, but
Okay, yeah,
first time, performing in Germany or in the UK. Like we sort of did this whole like big. It was like a 22 date tour. So
this is crazy. This exceeds what's your best show. This is like best year of your life.
Oh yeah, well, not the best year of my life, but
no.
Craziest year of my life.
That's craziest. Yeah.
But yeah, like basically getting to go to like France, the UK. We went to Prague,
amazing,
all over Germany, and yeah, it was pretty wild experience. Hands down, craziest year of my life.
Well, just out of curiosity, since obviously this means that you've seen a bunch of venues, big and small, and nice and not nice. I had on a member of Silks, the band from Toronto, earlier, and we got into green rooms. And so I was just going to ask you, do any nice green rooms stand out? Not even the name of the venue and what their green room is, Jesus Christ. But just what made that green room special?
Yeah.
If you want to name names, please do.
Yeah, this one comes to mind. It was in Paris, actually. This is the first show of that Europe tour that we did with Tallies. And the venue, oh man, it was called, I want to like look it up real quick. I'll be super fast here.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's a Paris Concerto.
Oh man, it doesn't say here. But basically, it was like this venue in Paris and sort of like an industrial club kind of vibe.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
But the green room upstairs, it was almost like this loft space with these big windows that looked out onto the street, but it had like Pac-Man games and like a pool table and like leather couches.
Damn.
And also,
so they basically had Tilt arcade, but upstairs.
Yeah.
If you've been to Tilt in Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that kind of vibe. And then, yeah, it was sort of like a showcase festival type of thing. So they also fed the bands, and it was like fresh baguettes and these 2 big bottles of red wine and like blocks of cheese.
They really leaned into what they thought the outside world thinks about them. That's really funny.
Exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, that was just like, really cool, very hospitable. And they like, I think the other like part of the dinner is just like this really nice quinoa salad kind of thing.
Okay.
So that was cool. And yeah, it was like sort of one of the things I really liked about playing the festivals there was, they're always feeding you really well. And also it's often,
I've heard that Europe, they take like maybe the best care of traveling musicians regardless of their star power. You know what I mean? It's not just Mariah Carey getting quinoa salad.
No, definitely not. But what's nice is it's also usually like vegetarian or vegan food, so everyone can eat it, and therefore it's also usually way healthier.
Right, yeah.
You don't feel super bloated and groggy afterwards too.
No, for sure.
But yeah, like I'll have to figure out what the venue's name was.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can always poorly add that in post, or we can just I'll add that into the description or something. But ad break. The Blue Jays are playing the Tigers right now. Alejandro Kirk singles in the top of the 9th. Isaiah Kiner Falafel scores. The Blue Jays still trail the Tigers 6-2. 6-2. Hi, we're Peerage of Convenience, a dating service, but for band members. Looking for that band member? Well, that's all the time we paid for. You know I gotta do it. Please follow if you're enjoying the episode. We should probably get to the issue at hand.
Oh yeah.
Which is your worst song, and you can take that. I sort of think of you as representing BBQ Pope in this podcast more than any of your other groups. So how did you treat it? Is it a BBQ Pope song?
Yeah, I was thinking of a couple of old barbecue songs that come to mind. The one that I chose is called "Hanging Out."
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's a song off of our very first EP, 2016 Squid Vicious EP.
It's a great name.
So yeah, we basically like recorded this EP in one day at a studio, just like live off the floor, and then did some overdubs and did some like quick.
Where was it? In Toronto, presumably, but do you remember the studio?
Yeah, I was at a place called DC Music.
Okay, I think I've heard of that.
Studio. It's like a lot of bands use it for like tour rehearsal.
Cool.
And stuff. Now they have a big sound stage, but
cool.
I did a couple of EPs early on in the days where we would just like rent it out for the day and then go for like 14 hours and record like a 4 or 5 song EP off the floor.
That's exciting though. That's the kind of energy you only have when you're that age in 2016. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Cool.
So Hanging Out was one of those songs.
So why Hanging Out?
I think the song itself, I actually do like the song. It's very like kind of immature, like it's just sort of like when I think of it, it like takes me back to when we were playing like these outdoor like backyard parties and shit in high school. And I think it was us trying to be like Nirvana, only like not really, hitting the head with it.
Yeah.
The lyrics are definitely kind of funny when you listen back, and also just in general, like the whole recording itself is very trashy. It's very sort of sounds like you're smashing lids of a garbage can together.
Lovely.
Yeah.
It's that Saint Anger Metallica sound. Yeah,
exactly.
Wow. Okay. So, well, at least the fact that yes, lyrics, but at least the fact that it sounds mostly like it was a production issue versus you don't hate the song, like you said, right? Like I asked another guest, Jess, this, but is it a decent enough song, songwriting wise, you think you could revive, like just say hypothetically, not as actual plans, but could you revive it now and express it in a way you think you'd like, or is there no hope for it?
I think so, but then at the same time, it just like it wouldn't even have the same charm either, right? Like it's the thing about it. I feel like obviously you could re-record it, but then it wouldn't be the same.
Wouldn't be the same, and you were how you were when you thought it was a good idea and confident about it, and there's something to be said for that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe just talk about the songwriting in terms of even musically, like how has it changed or remained the same compared to what new songs you're working on right now? Did you always make music together the same way you're making it now as BBQ Pope? Like, has your songwriting as a group changed?
I think it's actually stayed pretty much the same. In terms of the lyrics and stuff, it's usually Reed bringing in lyrics. He's definitely more of a poet, just like in his everyday life. So he's often writing, tons of lyrics all the time.
Would you say and just forgive my ignorance, is because you both sing, but would you say he's clearly the lead singer, or is it a double?
Oh yeah, he's definitely the lead singer of BBQ Pope.
Yes, BBQ Pope.
I do sing, a couple songs here and there, but I'm usually just doing background stuff and then guitar, of course. But like in terms of like the lyrics and stuff, and he's a very thoughtful lyricist, and I love his lyrics. But like Hanging Out, I think he would certainly attest to the sort of silliness of it. Like I feel like if there's any song that we've put out, where it's kind of like, what the fuck do these lyrics mean? It would
It's that
definitely be
one?
like that one. It's like there's
Okay.
no real thing. But I mean, in general, it's kind of just like about hanging out in the summertime with your
Mhm.
friends,
Mhm.
like fucking around, you know?
Sure, it's
So
so it is what it is, basically.
it is
It's
what it is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I like that, and there's a yeah, I think it's this is just another one. I've done a few of these interviews already, and every song they bring up and the reasons why they don't like it and the subject matter or whatever, I'm always like, I like it. See, this to me it sounds like Pavement, you know, the band Pavement, they would
Mhm.
probably do something. They have songs that are like that and they're
Oh
amazing, and
yeah.
they probably wrote them when they were 30, you know, or
Yeah.
25. But yeah, it's funny just the way that your perspective shifts on it as you get
Hmm.
older, really. It's more about what's changed about you, not the song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow, okay. So is there anything, well, was this an, you said you had a few options as you were thinking about, but why was this the
Um, well, the other song that I
winner,
was
I
going to
guess.
say,
Yeah.
the other song is called Star-Crossed Stoners. And so that was also off that first EP. I think
Yeah.
the first two tracks were actually Star-Crossed Stoners and then Hanging Out. But
So
yeah.
hanging out struck you as a bit immature, but star-crossed stoners was poetry, man.
Dude, that shit's poetry for sure. Yeah.
Walt Whitman, bro, he'd love that, bro. That's
Um,
too funny.
yeah, I mean, they're kind of tied up for me, you know,
Sure,
but
sure.
I don't know. I feel like with Star-Crossed Stoners, that one's kind of just like, I don't know. Is it our worst song? Maybe. Maybe not. It's hard to say, you know?
Oh,
Uh,
I love so much about the fact that I'm getting people to talk
yeah.
this way about their music. It gives me endless entertainment.
Yeah. It's
Well,
kind of like, I don't know. I feel like if anything, Hanging Out's more like you're just like whacking a garbage can.
okay.
Star-Crossed Stoners is sort of like you let your, you let like a group of school children just like absolutely decimate a garbage can, like with rocks or something, you know? Like,
The latter is maybe a little more fitting with the garage rock you guys are going for with Barbecue Pope. It sounds like
yeah.
so. Yeah, that's funny. Well, quickly then, what do you think is Barbecue Pope's best song? And you can take that what in whatever way you want, production wise or songwriting or whatever.
Um, I
And it can
think,
be one you're working on now.
yeah. Well, I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't want to give up too much, you know. But
It's true.
definitely, we
Okay.
got some good songs coming on the way. I
Okay.
think, in terms of like the overall songwriting and sort of like maturity of it,
Hmm.
there's some new songs that definitely stand out for me. But in terms of stuff that's out right now, I think,
Sure. Listenable.
yeah, like my favorite song still is probably Blank Screen, which
Hmm.
is the last song on our album, and also it's usually the song that we end with. It's kind of like it's also like a power ballad kind of thing, but sort of starts off with this like really cool driving punky intro slash verse and stuff, but then the choruses are this sort of like halftime, like big, almost like stadium thing, you know?
I remember noting that maybe it's just the case with a lot of the music, but I liked the fact that although it's garage rock, you have a bunch of like fun time changes that you don't normally hear in my
Mhm.
experience, listening to garage rock,
Yeah,
which
totally.
is
I
really
think,
cool. So it sounds like are you going to lean into that? You don't give much away, but does that still exist? That kind of fun
oh yeah.
with
Yeah,
the time changes?
there's a couple new songs actually where we're just trying to like really lean into the dynamics of it. I mean, with Blank Screen as well, it's like we sort of do this whole thing where like, you know, we got like the big driving intro into like the halftime chorus, but then dips down to this like really quiet build up into like we almost try to get like silent and then build it up into this like huge chorus with just huge sing-along thing, and like also big fat solo at the end, which is always fun. So
no, that's fantastic.
We definitely tried to incorporate dynamics in that stuff. I think for a while we definitely didn't put enough dynamics in our music. It was
you think so?
Just like, let's lean into just driving garage rock, kind of like bass drum of death, fiddler kind of thing.
Well, the irony of the fact that you are now getting back into, or just more recently in general, getting back into dynamics and using those, my understanding when I hear dynamics, or my reference, is Nirvana or Pixies or whatever, but Nirvana is a good example of dynamics. Yeah. And the irony I'm pointing out is the fact that earlier you said with that earlier song, you were trying to do it, but you didn't really pull it off. And now that you're older, you've sort of almost come back to that influence, but you know how to use it.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
And I mean, to be honest, I feel like Hanging Out, which I was saying earlier, like, it does kind of sound like a Nirvana song. Like, we are trying to just kind of go like into those, minor thirds, like heavy power chord stuff. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of like the actual like musicality and like the dynamics and whatnot of our music now, it's a lot, it flows a lot better. Also, the lyrics are just more mature, and I think we're trying to like incorporate more melody as much as possible into that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know, like we do have some songs that are more like post-hardcore kind of thing, but then also sort of ballady. Like, we've always been good at writing ballads. Even how I was saying, like The Hunch, like,
sounds like it.
Power ballads, right? So
what was the song that you said your mom still talks about?
Halfway to Silence,
which is a great ballad name as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately for the people, but not unfortunately for us, it's not on Spotify.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah.
Cool.
So,
well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking through all this and everything. It was great to hear. Honestly, this podcast is just a good excuse for me to approach the musicians I admire and then get all their get all the everything I want to know about them out. So it's fantastic, and I really admire always what I see you're doing, man. So thank you so much for thanks for being a guest.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and something that I've started to do, this isn't the case with the first episode that's publicly available, but it will be the case going forward. Would you like to introduce the song, because it will play after this? So basically you would just say the name of the song, the band, and enjoy or whatever.
Sure, yeah. Let's do it right now.
Go for it.
Hey, my name's Sean. I'm from BBQ Pope, and this is our song, Hanging Out.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was really great.
We were at a pool, talking about school and trying not to drool. We're hanging out. We were at a bank, talking about tanks and trying not to spank, 'cause we're hanging out. 'Cause we're hanging out. Cheap beer and playing pressure. We like it that way. Don't depress. beer is in the fridge. Think I gotta piss, but I don't wanna miss this. We're hanging out. We were at a store talking about the poor. I'm really fucking bored, and we're hanging out. And we're hanging out. And we're hanging out. Oh, we're just a bunch of fucking messes, and we like it that way. Don't depress us. Drinking cheap beer and playing